last type of question that we have regarding product strategy and vision. Okay, so how to answer a product strategy and vision question is something that we are talking about today. The interviewer may ask, what should Airbnb's strategy be during the COVID-19 pandemic? It is purely to test how are you able to strategize in any given situation. Okay, so do you know principles that is relevant for strategy, and are you able to structure your thoughts and explain it clearly? Okay, so there is no right or wrong answer. It is about how you structure your thoughts and how you devise a strategy for success. There's a wonderful book called as Good Strategy, Bad Strategy, where you can read this and you can understand everything about strategy. But most of the times we may not have a lot of time to cover this. So what I have done is I have covered most of the points from this book, and I made this deck so that you understand what is good strategy, what is bad strategy, and the principles behind strategy, how to devise a strategy. If you go through these slides, then you will be definitely understanding exactly what is strategy means, and what do you call as a bad strategy, and what are the tools that you have to devise a good strategy, and how to bring everything together. Because if I tell you how to answer the question, you may be able to answer one question, but if I tell you the tools that is used in devising a strategy, then definitely you will be able to answer any question. Okay, that is why I have devised it in such a way that it will be helpful in understanding the strategy first place, and then you get to the situation where how to use these principles and answer the question. Okay, so let's get started. What do you think of good strategy? A good strategy has four things. Okay, coherence, coordinating actions, policies, resources to accomplish. If you miss any of this, at least even one, it is not a good strategy and you are bound to fail. If you think that like there are no coordinated actions, but you have coherence, policies, and resources to accomplish, then it is inviting failure. You have a great coherence, coordinating actions, policies, everything is documented, but you don't have resources to accomplish it. Then it's not a good strategy. When you are devising a strategy, you should take into account that is my idea coherent, and are there actions coordinated enough, and is my policies guiding the success, and do we have resources to accomplish? You have to have all the four things.
Sorry, coherence in this place, can you explain?
Yes, sir. Coherence is like when you are actually having multiple teams, okay, and there is no synergy in between them.
Okay.
Okay, so they are not acting as a one unit. Everybody is in their own, they have their own agenda and their own ways to do.
Okay.
Right? They are not coming together, then it is not coherent. So that is what is meant by coherence. The important thing is good strategies are about discovering power. Okay, it comes from the insight of your own strength and weakness. Before you jump onto building a strategy, the first thing that you should do is identifying your own strengths and weaknesses and that of your competitors as well. Somebody is asking, like, there is a famous question on product strategy. Think about Netflix, and Netflix wants to get into gaming. So suppose there is a question that should Netflix get into a gaming console business? Answering this question, devising a strategy whether to go or not, that is the ultimate thing that you have to come up with. Okay, and if you are ready to go, why you are supposed to go, and what is your strategy for success? If this is the question, then you have to think about what is the current strength of Netflix, who are its customers, what are its weaknesses, and you also think about competitor strength and weaknesses. who are the existing players over there, and how strong they are, where are the gaps, can we fill that gap with our existing customers. So are we able to convince them that Netflix is a great domain to have to partner with. So there are a lot of things. So it is about devising a plan based on your own strengths and weaknesses, and as well as strengths and weaknesses of your competitor. So that is about discovering power. Sometimes power comes with you from your own strength. Sometimes power comes from other guy's weakness. So now let's understand what is bad strategy. When you are actually telling about good strategy, you should understand what is bad strategy. Okay. So bad strategy is not simply about absence of good strategy, but it is about fluff. You tell that we are going to use AI, ML, blockchain technology to overcome the competition. There is nothing but the technology names, but there is no plan as such, or there is no actions as such. We use highest standards to satisfy our customers. Okay, so it's a fluff. So highest standards for satisfying customer is a sentence, right? In that there are a lot of fluff words, but there is nothing concrete. Okay, generally when you have no plan, then you use fluff. It is just a marketing thing, proving somebody that yes, I am very intelligent fellow. But basically it is not a strategy at all. Okay, so don't take fluff as a strategy. Okay, or if you are building something, don't use these kind of things. Okay. Second thing is failure to face the challenge. We know that what is the problem in the room, but we never wants to talk about it. Okay. When you are failed to face actual challenge, then you go about doing all other stuffs, but facing the actual problem. So, and then mistaking goals for strategy. So normally what we will do, we will set 3 to 4 goals and we call that as strategy. We tell like, okay, by end of this month, I will reach 100 people, and I see that they are satisfied with me. But basically that 100 is a goal. How are you going to meet them? And what are the channels that you are going to contact them? That is making your strategy. Goals itself is not a strategy. Okay, you can set your goals for 1 year, but how to achieve them is a strategy, not the goal itself.
Okay, okay.
And the fourth thing is about bad strategic objectives. Bad strategic objectives are like your objective itself is wrong. What you want to achieve itself is not aligning with your strengths. You are not trying to monetize, but you are trying to go behind something else. Actual objective should be about monetization or growth or something like that. You are actually behind something else. Why so much bad strategy? Because no one has to think about it. So there is no analysis, no logic, no choice. Bad strategy thrives when there is something like a hippo situation in a room. Do you know what is hippo?
Yeah.
Hippo's abbreviation is the highest paid person's opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Right? In a room, you see your manager is telling something, you blindly follow him because he is highest paid, or he has some, you think like, okay, whatever he says is right. And normally these people come up with uh, decisions which makes no logic, no analysis, and you have no choice but to follow them. So if at all you have any power, please go back with your data and try to convince these hippos that, okay, data says so, and this is not right. Fine. So now we understood what is strategy and what is bad strategy. Yes, we will talk about good strategy.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Okay. So the kernel of good strategy is about understanding the problem in hand, which is nothing but diagnosis. A diagnosis that defines or explains the nature of the challenge. The first thing that you should do when you are devising a strategy is to find the problem and understand the problem really well. You should not have any ambiguity with the problem statement, and you clearly understand the problem and you know that that is a problem that you are solving. Okay. And the second thing is guiding policy. So what is your policy to deal with the challenge? You cannot go without policy. You have to create a policy saying that I will tackle this problem in this direction. So, and the third one is set of coherent actions that are designed to carry out the guiding policy. So the policy is devised, and now how are you going to act upon that? Suppose I wanted to roll out a new product into market. Okay. So now let's come up with three things. One is diagnosis, guiding policy, and coherent actions, right? In single statement. So what is the diagnosis? I want to roll out a new product into market. There is a competition and nobody knows us. It's a new product. Okay, that's the diagnosis. If you see guiding policy, we conquer one segment at a time or one area at a time. That's a guiding policy. Okay, coherent actions. Maybe we put advertisements in a local paper or we reach out to specific segments talking about our product. Right? So this is about diagnosis, guiding policy, coherent actions. We don't deviate from guiding policy. So when we say guiding policy, we have to target one segment at a time. We will not go ahead and give advertisement in a national paper. Right? So you know where exactly the customer, and we are not going to talk anyone other than that customer. So if you are having a policy as such, you should not deviate from that. So otherwise you will have a different result. Your strategy is deviated. Now we understand what is bad strategy and what is good strategy. Next, we will understand about the tools that will help to create good strategies. Okay, these are very simple tools. If you see, a good strategy draws power from focusing minds, energy, and action. It's about using leverage. Okay, anticipate and pivot point. So what do you think about everything that I'm talking about? These are simple words, but I want to make sense out of it. So this tool is exactly talking about anticipation. So you know exactly what is going to happen next. Based on that, you are going to take action today, and you don't mind about the results as on today, and you are going to focus and you have to plan your coordinated action, anticipating that something will happen. I'll give you an example from Apple. Okay, so Steve Jobs came back to Apple sometime in 1996 or something, and there were so many layoffs, and they had only money for 2 months to go, and Apple got funding from Microsoft, and everything, cost cutting happened. They focused on only 2-3 items. Everything is there. Okay, but at that point of time, some interviewer asked Steve Jobs that, so what is your plan? So Steve Jobs' answer is, I'm going to wait, because the markets will change. It will not be same. Okay, so on that anticipation, he's going to wait, and he is going to focus his energy on building good product. Okay, so he is going to wait. So waiting is not a solution, but sometimes that's the best solution that you can have. So you have to wait, anticipating that something will happen, but at the same time, you focus your mind on what you're doing, and your energy and action should be coherent, and it should take place in one direction that you think the markets will come and join you there. Required when you are devising a strategy, you anticipate what is going to happen in down the line, and you focus your energy over there. Okay. Second thing is about resolving ambiguity, creating strong positioning, hierarchy of objectives. Suppose you want to achieve X, and the path is clear that you have to go through A, B, C. So you don't really target X. You target A first, and then go to B, and then go to C, and then X. So you have to have set of objectives. I mean, your progress cannot be stopped through ambiguity. You should take decisions and move on. Okay. So if there is no option as well, you should take a decision and move on, and understand the situation in further step, and then roll back or move forward based on that situation's understanding. Okay. Don't ever be in ambiguity. So proximity of objectives is important thing when you are devising a strategy. Strategy, the reaching objective is not one step. Reaching objective has multiple steps. Okay, so you have to pick your low hanging fruits and you have to move step by step without ambiguity. And the third thing is about tools of good strategy is a chain link system. Okay, so now can we understand it deeper? A system has a chain link logic when its performance is limited by its weakest subunit or link. Your performance when you are achieving an objective is equal to your weakest point. Suppose there is a system like there are 10 units, okay, and everybody is building a product, and in that you feel like one development unit or one marketing unit is weaker, so your performance will be equal to the performance of the weakest unit in that team. Okay, so that means if marketing performance is poor, the overall product performance equal to marketing performance. If you are actually strategizing to crack a PM role, if you are very good in content, but you are weak in cracking interview, you are weak in communications, okay, the overall performance comes and stands over there. So when you are actually taking your actions and working with multiple teams to create a strategy, it's better to have every unit at the same level. One guy outperforming is not going to help you, and one guy left behind is not going to help you when you see it as a coherent unit. Now, another thing is good strategy is design, and design is about fitting various pieces together, so they work as a coherent whole. You cannot see everything as an individual unit. Okay, I'm really good at cracking interview, but what happens post interview? You have to perform at work, right? So you cannot see everything as a single unit. Even if see, you can say like my marketing is great, I can sell this product, but what happens after service will get affected because the product is crappy and people are like queuing up in after service, right? So you should see it as a unit. Okay, it's not. I see recently Ola, right? They have a great positioning and great sales happening, but after sales is something which is questioned, right? So now what happens? The overall brand value is coming down. You should design the strategy in such a way that everything is coming as one whole. Okay. Now let's move on to next thing. So which is about focus. Attacking segment of the target with a business system supplying more value to that segment than other players can is called focus. I have an example like when in a year, every company, product company or service company, any company, in a quarter or in a year, they focus their energy on one single thing. Because the more you focus on things, the better you get the results. So I see leaders when they are conducting town halls or they are conducting a communication meeting, right? They focus on one thing, and for that quarter or that year, that will be the focus point. So sometimes it is quality, sometimes it is user satisfaction, sometimes it is customer acquisition. Based on the stage of the product, you have to focus on what is most important thing. Okay, suppose your product is just launched, adoption is key, and suppose adoption is achieved, then engagement is the key. So suppose engagement is achieved, then quality is the key, right? So you have, when you are devising strategy, you have to see like what is your focus point based on what is the situation that you are in or stage that the product is in. Let's move on to the next thing, which is growth. Okay, so normally if you see, growth cannot be engineered. Like, okay, so growth will not happen without substance. So you have to improve your substance, then the growth is automatic. So that's why we call it as growth is not engineered. Healthy growth is not engineered. You cannot engineer something like a market situation. You cannot bring the market situation to certain position. Suppose you have a futuristic product or a product from the past, and you want current market to adopt that will not happen. You cannot engineer the market, or you cannot engineer the growth. Okay, even if it looks like you are growing because you are pumping a lot of money, but until unless you find PMF, I mean, a natural connect is all going to be waste. Growth is generally, so it is a product of superior products and skills that you are demonstrating to advertise that and to pull in people and all that. Okay, the advantage, right? Advantage is rooted in differences, in the same asymmetries among rivals. There is a product which is there in the market from long time. Okay, and you are a new entrant. Do you have any chance or no chance at all? It depends on the product, right? So the product that you are selling. Asymmetries are like the gaps that the other product has left. So if we identify that, we can take advantage of that. So the advantage is rooted in differences. You have to know what is the difference between X and Y. If you are a new entrant, what is the difference between new entrant product and existing product? Then you can actually take advantage of these asymmetries. The another thing is exogenous wave of change is like wind in racing boats sail. Okay, sometimes you don't have to do anything. You just have to sail along with that wave. So using the dynamics is where you understand what's happening now, and you just follow that. For example, I'll tell you funny example. Like a lot of times, what happens? The trending reels. Okay, so there will be one trend, and everybody follows that. Okay, so it's like about understanding the dynamics and moving along with the trend. So that is also a kind of a strategy that you can adopt. If I want to grow in Instagram, I will see what is that my competitors doing, or what is that my customers are very much interested in. Okay, I devise a plan that to exactly do the same thing, because that is a wave. Something like giving an exotic challenge and making it viral. That's a wave. Ice cube buckets. So that was the wave, right? So at that point of time, you see, there were so many challenges coming on Instagram. When you understand everything, you have to put it together as a policy. Like, what is the policy that I'm going to have? One policy could be we'll go along with the wave. So whatever is asked by customer or whatever is asked by market as on today, I am not going to say no to it. I will continue doing what is there, what is asked in the market. I will only react. I will not be proactive. That could be a policy, because maybe my resources are limited, so I will be only reacting to it. If you have such a policy, that's good for you. Actually, if you are devising such a policy, that's good for you, because policies are coming from your own context and your own understanding of the market, customer, and business, everything together, right? So the policies are made based on those understandings. The science of strategy is about functional knowledge. So what works, what doesn't, why. Okay. So if you see these 3 points, already if you are into market, okay, you understand that you already understand that what works, what doesn't work. Okay, this is the functional knowledge that you will have because you are there in the market for a long time and you understand the market. Okay, this is the kind of a knowledge that you will acquire. So you have to put that into action. So you cannot forget that those things which didn't work for you. And sometimes it is always good to understand why it is not working, so that you don't repeat those mistakes. The scientific empiricism is something like you have to think in the direction where it all makes logical sense. Okay, so the data and trends, why such thing is happening from data is something that you should look at when devising a strategy. Okay, anomaly is if there are any differences that you think like okay, this should happen, but it's not happening. There is an anomaly, okay, a different behavior. You should understand that behavior, why it is so different. Okay, so when you build this knowledge, then you can actually build a good strategy. Why such an anomaly is happening? Why things are not working in the direction which we thought of? Okay, so then you will get a real direction where you should go. Otherwise, you are actually what you're doing is you are taking one action and you don't know why it failed, and you are going to another action. If you get to know why it failed by deep understanding, your next action will be very fruitful one. We are actually approaching the end. I just wanted to tell you a few things like when you are actually strategizing, right? So make a list and guide your own attention. Like don't forget that what you want to achieve. So a lot of times what happens, we forget what you want to do. Okay, so the goals itself is forgotten, and we are too much into operations. That's not something that you should do while devising a strategy and while putting everything into action, right? So you should not get into operational so much that you forget actually what you are supposed to do. It happens with large companies where they lose their focus and they retract again to bring the focus back. Ability to question your own judgment. So you have taken a decision and it is not working, or even before putting that into test, you think about it again and again, and you get it a critical analysis of your own judgment. Am I doing it right? Okay, so that will actually help you devise a good strategy. Okay, being critical about your own judgments is good. Why I'm doing this? Is it really a good thing for product or myself or project or company, right? So when you are making such judgments, so be critical about it. Okay. So habit of recording judgments so that you can improve. So whenever you are making a judgment, right? So you make a habit of writing it down. Okay. So you may forget why you have taken that decision, but if you cross verify why, then possibly you'll get to remember that okay, this is why I have done it, and I should not repeat that. So independent and careful assessment, harnessing individual insights into carefully crafted purpose. So these are really important when devising strategies. Okay. So this is about the book that I have told you, Good Strategy, Bad Strategy. So it is chapter wise. I have covered only the highlights of it. Okay. If you want to read that book, I would recommend that you complete that book end to end without leaving anything. It's a very good storybook kind of thing. So I have some more things that you should consider before we answer the primary question that we were asking, like devising a strategy, right? So there are three more frameworks that is required to be looked at. Okay. So the first thing is three C's. Okay, when you are devising a strategy, you have to understand customer, company, and competitor. So who is my customer and what is that company is going to get benefited, and how my competitors are getting affected or taking advantage of me moving into a different direction, or me taking this strategy. So this is the three C's framework. When you are asking, right, when you are asking a question, any product strategy question, so you should reflect upon the customer, company, and competitor. If we are asking a question in this format, like so let's ask this question: what should Airbnb strategy be during the COVID-19 pandemic? We can come up with answers only when we think about three things. So one is about customer, and another thing is about company, and another thing about competitor. Okay, so your question is what is that we are thinking about company, right? So company is an entity which is supposed to run for long term. Okay, so business continuity is as simple as basic, right? So it is not that you hit a problem and you shut the company, right? So when we are devising this strategy during the COVID-19 pandemic, it happened to one of the organization in India also. I can tell you the name of that, like a Quick Ride. Uh, have you ever heard about this, Ini? This is an Indian carpooling thing where you can quickly hop into anybody's car and you go from X to Y destination, and you make a habit of going with the same person and make friends and all that. Okay, this is a carpooling company. Okay, quick ride. In the pandemic, what happened? Actually, um, carpooling is not allowed and no cars are out. Okay, so it is not a situation of 1 day or 2 days. It's about a situation of an year, right? And we don't know after 1 year will it come back or not. So then you should think about company as well when devising a strategy, that what will happen to the company. Okay, what will happen to the stakeholders who have invested in the company? So how can we devise a strategy that they are having least impact? Okay, how can we make company survive? Okay, so the policy is clear from Quick Ride that they have ramped down immediately most of the redundant jobs and employees, and they have told to take a pay cut at XYZ percentage and go back to hometowns and work from there. Their operations are made to minimal, like almost like at the scale of 1 to 2% of existing operations team, right? So that they just exist and survive that. Okay, but that I mean that made them survive, and today after pandemic it survived. Okay, so if they had taken a policy like okay, whatever it happens, we are going to run uh, the cost and take care of our employees and everything, probably they would have run out of money, because that company was not very old company where they have a lot of reserves. Okay, so the companies which have a lot of reserves, they could have survived easily. But the companies which are very young startups, where they are still thinking of breaking even, you have to think when you are thinking about a strategy, you have to think how we can survive this. But that should not be a knee-jerk reaction. You should consider which teams are important and why you should hold them and all those things, right? So all those things has to be kept in mind, and you have to devise a policy so that company is given least impact in these situations. Okay, so when you're talking about strategy, you should consider talking about three people who are company. That means stakeholders who will get affected, and competitors, and as well as customers. And the second thing is 4 Ps. This is something very basic in marketing. When you are actually building a strategy about a company, product, or anything, you figure out first these 4 things. So what is my product? What will be the price of that product? And where am I going to sell it? And where am I going to promote it? Okay. So in strategy, this is going to play a crucial role. These terms are going to play a crucial role. Yeah. The decision of the place goes into 3 things. Okay. The first thing is, where do I find my customers? Okay. Where are existing products sold? Okay. So and how can it take advantage of place? Okay.
Okay.
So suppose if you want to have a dark store room, like a dark store, which is very popular in quick commerce now, where will you place that? You you place nearby to big apartments, because the most of the customers are living there, and your orders will be mostly coming from that place. And it is very, if dark stores are kept close by, it is easy to reach that place in 2 minutes or less than 2 minutes, and it gives higher satisfaction, isn't it? Where the
Yeah.
density of the population is high, that's where you are going to place your dark store. That's one of the example, but place is really going to have impact on your business. Okay, so if at all you are selling a second-hand bike, okay, so you can sell online. Okay, that is one way. Okay, where else can you sell the second-hand bike?
I mean, the market where particular, I mean, in Chennai, there is a market like it is popular for vehicle spare parts like that. So
Exactly. This is what I'm trying to tell. Like when you're identifying a place, right, you have to see exactly where exactly it is sold already. Okay, you just have to make, you don't you don't look for another marketplace or new marketplace. So when
Yeah,
you're devising a strategy, you have to see what is the product that you are going to build, who is the customer, and what is the price point compared to your competitors, and where are you going to place it. So price point is equal to the quality and the positioning that you have done. Okay. So suppose you form it like a niche product, then you can sell the same product with a greater packaging into higher price. Okay. So suppose I would say like Oreo biscuit, right? So Oreo biscuit quality, product quality is great, but if you wrap it into a different into a cheap quality wrapper, the consumer perception will change. You may have a great product, but people will not be ready to pay that price. Okay. So price is something like you have to see like how much premium you can add through your brand value, or if you feel like no, my brand is not there, I'm still struggling to get into market, then you give deep discounts and try to engage with customers. When you are established, then your strategy is different. When you have a brand name, you are going to take advantage of that brand name and keep that price at a premium price. So price strategy totally depends on how, and it also depends on willingness to pay from the customer. So whether customer is willing to pay. If I want to play with quantity, I'll position in that direction and I will make it really cheap, and where everybody will join. Okay. If I want to make it as a quality product, then I keep it at a premium price, and I only talk to people who are uh, who are ready to offer that, or who are ready to engage in value. So next thing is about Porter's forces. So this is about there are five things. So in five forces analysis, there is like strength of barriers, and extent of rivalry, supplier power, and buyer power, threat from substitutes. So all these are going to help you to devise a strategy. Okay. I'll detail you out in the next screen. You're thinking about entering a market. Okay. So then how likely that it is easy for somebody to get into that market? Okay. How easy or difficult it is? Suppose you are getting into healthcare domain. Is it easy for anybody to get into healthcare domain? Possibly not, because there is a lot of government policies that are that has to be adhered, right? If suppose it's something like education business, right? So or coaching business or something like that, it's easy, like anybody can get into it. The You have to see what is the barrier that is keeping people to get into that and overcrowd it. Your strategy should be like when you are taking decision, you should see that what is the entry barrier and exit barrier. Sometimes it is easy to get in, but difficult to get out. Even then, companies don't want to get into such ventures. Suppose let's take example of flight business. Okay, so it is easy to get in when you have a lot of money. You can get into that market. You can have your own flight crew. Okay, but it is very difficult to get out because the investment is so high that if you want to exit, then there is a lot of money which is going, which you are losing, right? So these are the entry and exit barriers that you should think when you are actually venturing into a product line portfolio, or something that you want to do something in new, right? So you have to see that entry and exit barriers. Okay. And you need to understand the bargaining power of buyers and bargaining power of suppliers. The bargaining power of suppliers and buyers, right? It is very important. Okay. So the higher the bargaining power of buyers, okay, you cannot put that into a, like you cannot price it at higher point. Okay. The bargaining power of suppliers are like suppliers are very few. Okay. That point of time, and there is higher demand. Okay, so that point of time, the price point will be different.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a game of availability. Okay, and who is in control. Okay, so if you see, for an example, let's take Swiggy, Zepto, or all of this, right? So where is who is having higher power here? If you ask me, here the power is balanced because everybody wants this platform to survive.
Platform, yes, of course.
Yes, so it is important to balance the power of every stakeholder. If one person or one stakeholder um, overpowers the entire market, then the survival of market that will be very difficult. Then
Yes.
other stakeholders will feel demotivated and they get out of that business. Okay.
Yeah, I
So
understood.
you need to understand that when to market to survive, you have to balance the powers of everybody, and there should be some tactics and devices that you should deploy. So the bargaining power of buyers, I'll complete this and then come to that. So bargaining power of buyers will go off when you build a brand, right? So you cannot go on to a Nike showroom and negotiate there. So that is what it is. So on the supplier side, if suppose there is only one supplier who is supplying this product, okay, you can encourage other suppliers to get into market, helping them to understand the business, and maybe initially you connect with them with the right people to start supplying. Okay,
Yes.
so by this you'll be decreasing the bargaining power of suppliers. And threat of new substitutes. How likely that somebody else is going to provide the same service and your job is gone.
Mm.
Okay, or how likely your customer is going to find an alternative. There can be 100 alternatives, but finding that alternative is difficult or easy. So you need to understand the competitive rivalry, the level of competition between existing competitors in the industry. Okay, so based on these five elements, you should be able to create a strategy. Yeah, so we can answer some questions. So basically, when you are asked about any product strategy questions, right? So clarify him, like ask him clarifying questions. Okay, ask interviewer that you both are in the same page with understanding, and then you get started with three things. One is customer, company, and competitor. Like, I mean, however the question is. So based on that, you make a move. Okay, take your time and try to analyze in a proper structured way on what is your strategy in three things. Okay, so suppose if the question is how would you acquire more users for Uber? Okay, so then what does that mean? So more users in that sense, he wants more downloads to happen, or he wants more engaging users, or he wants more conversions. Okay, so that will be a clarifying question. Okay, so on top of that, you are going to build a strategy. Like suppose if you're acquiring more users, so what will be your strategy? So you need to see who are the players over there, right?
Yes.
So when the user will be attracted more into Uber platform, okay. So then you have to see like what are options available. So option one, maybe you find any value added service. Like every ride that you take, we are going to give you certain cashback on certain things. So if you are actually taking a ride that is turning into some points, and you get free rides, then definitely you will be able to get more users onto Uber.
Yeah. Yeah. Monthly
Right?
pass. Monthly pass.
Monthly passes. You can say like you subscribe to us and we give one ride free in a month. Maybe such things may work. Okay, so based on, you have to understand the place, or there is a situation like in peak time, right? You have a scarcity of drivers. Okay, maybe you can play with drivers saying that, okay, in peak time, I will give you extra amount so that you are on to Uber, not into any other services.
Mm.
That gives you more availability, and that gives more satisfaction to the customer, and that makes more people join your app, because it is guaranteed to find a cab in a peak time, right? So there are multiple ways that you can think. You need to see who are all players are there and what will be their intrinsic motivations, and then you devise a policy, and then you ask you build a coherent action around it, and then come out of the situation. What should be the Airbnb strategy be during the COVID-19 pandemic? Maybe we can start with a clarifying question, asking that what is the objective of this question? So are you asking in terms of how am I going to engage with customer, or how am I going to have companies running at this point of time? What is that ask? Okay, so that you be clear. What is the objective that you want to achieve? Okay, so once you know the clear objective, then you can build a strategy. So if you don't understand a problem, so don't ever get started with the answer. Okay. So now if I say like how Airbnb can engage with existing users and help them remind that Airbnb is there. If that is the objective, then how will we devise our strategy?
Yeah, I mean, if certain persons want to quarantine themselves, and so we can have Airbnb spots like this is a quarantine place like that, so that people can quarantine themselves.
Yeah. So maybe we can try that safe quarantine places. Okay. So which will also help customers get benefited,
Yeah.
right? I mean customers in the sense here the the property providers.
Yeah.
So why
Maybe
would
we can.
one want to get into Airbnb? Because they want to explore, right?
Mm.
So how can we devise a situation where they can they can do things at home? Maybe a yoga package. We can encourage them to keep in touch with Airbnb and also help them be motivated, right?
Yeah.
And also it gives a goodwill on Airbnb. We need to see like how as a policy, if we drive this, it's going to impact Airbnb in the long run. So in short, we can encourage them to be at home, but is it going to affect our long-term business? Because anyway, will return back to normal. At that point of time, what will happen? So will this habit going to hamper us? We need to think about that. Okay. If you are asked any questions, can you answer this question in interview? Would you be able to answer in a structured format? So first ask the clarifying question, and then think who is the customer and who are the stakeholders, and where is it getting sold, and what is the price point, where is the promotions happening, and who is the competitor. All of that based on the question. Okay. Based on those questions, so you apply Porter's 5 forces as well, and then you come up with data points. Then you devise your strategy. Okay.
Sure.
Think on every direction, like a customer, company, and competitor, product, price, place, promotion, and the other 5 Porter entities are there, right? So you have these many points to think about, and further to that, you have all the tools that are handy, which will help you to devise a strategy for any problem, I believe. I believe this is end of our interview sessions.